One, two, one, one, two.
Anole Mitanghere, also known as Touch Me Not, novel by the Philippines national hero Jose Rizal. It was published in 1887 in Berlin, Germany, considered to be one of the most important work of Philippines literature and powerful indictment of Spanish colonialism. Indictment is a formal written charge of crime. It is a formal accusation that a person has committed a crime, and it exposes the abuses of the Spanish government and the Catholic Church. It also shows the Filipino were suffering under their rule. The novel also explores themes of identity, nationalism, and social justice. It also helps to awaken the Filipino people to their own oppression and inspire them to fight for independence. The novel is a work of fiction, but it is based on Rizal's own experiences and observation of the Philippines society during the Spanish colonial period, and it is widely read and studied today.
Juan Crisostomo Ibarra is a fictional character created by a Filipino national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal, in his novel Noli Me Tangere. He is a young, educated Filipino who returns to the Philippines after studying in Europe. Ibarra is depicted as an idealistic and compassionate individual with a desire to bring progress and reforms to his hometown under Spanish colonial rule. He faces various challenges and becomes delusioned with the corruption and abuses of power by the Spanish and prayers and officials. Ibarra's character symbolizes hope and resistance against colonial oppression, inspiring Filipino to fight for their rights and strive for social change. So Elias is a man who was very crucial to how the plot unfolded. Elias had a very gruesome past. His grandfather was accused of arson and was condemned, and he eventually committed suicide. His grandmother and was also sold by the civil guards for not reporting the said incident. And also Elias is a savior of Juan Crisostomo Ibarra. So Maria Clara is depicted as a symbol of purity, modesty, and virtue. She is the daughter of Capitan Tiago and Doña Pia Alba, and she is engaged to Crisostomo Ibarra. The novel protagonist in the novel Maria Clara faces various challenges and contradictions, and she is torn between her love for Crisostomo Ibarra and the expectation and pressures imposed on her by her family and society. So Maria Clara, her character represents the struggle of the Filipinos torn between their native culture and the influence of Spanish colonization. Overall, Maria Clara serves as a symbolic figure and Noli Me Tangere, that representing the virtues, struggle, and complexities of Filipino women during the Spanish colonial period.
Si Don Santiago o tinatawag nating Kapitan Tiago. Siya ay isang mayamang katutubong pinanganak na Pilipino na nagpahid ng mga siko sa mga kapangyarihan taglay noong panahong iyon. Sinasagisag niya ang mga mamayang Pilipino na nag-aapi sa kanilang mga kababayan kapalit ng impluensya at kayamanan na maaari nilang makuha sa kanilang makapangyarihang samahan. Tatalakay ito ang kasangkapan ng No Limit Tangere. Ang kabisira na si Tiago ay sumisimbolo sa Pilipino ang batang latigo ng kolonyal na paghahari ng Espanya. Lahat ng pangunahing tauhan sa Nolime ay biktima ng kolonyal na pamumuno ng mga Espanyol. Ito ay isang katangian binabahagi nila sa isang katangian nagpapasigla sa kanila sa isang bansa. This is a trait that they all share, trait that are galvanized into from a nations. Dahil ito po ay kabilang sa ginawa ni Don Santiago na tinatawag niyang Kapitan Tiago. Siya po ay isang mayamang katutubong Pilipino pinanganak, nagpamahid ng siko at nagtaglay ng kaparihan noong sa panahong iyon. Dahil po ang Espanyol o dahil nasakop po nito ang sa panahon na iyon, dahil sinasakop po tayo ng mga Espanyol, nagpamalas sila ng kanilang mga katingian. Pamalas sila ng katingian, nag-impluensya po sa ating mamamayan. Si Don Tiago ay isang mabuting Pilipino at nagpahid ng siko. Nasagisag niya ang mga mamamayang Pilipino na inaapi at umaapi at nagtataglay nagkampo sa tutula ng Nolime Tangere na ginawa ni Dr. Jose Rizal.
So my report is all about Padre Damaso and Padre Salve. Padre Damaso was the former town curate of San Diego and the real father of Maria Clara. Opposing his daughter's marriage to Crisostomo Ibarra, the man made efforts to drive the two apart of Maria Clara's sake. Padre Damaso became a Franciscan priest in the Philippines sometimes in 1858, serving for 3 years at a small town. So, si Padre Damaso usa sa iyang role sa No Limit Tangere kay ang Franciscan prior or a parish priest sa lugar sa San Diego, and also a father of Maria Clara. Naiuban ang ilang malantaw or ma-describe ni Padre Damaso is usa sa pinaka-harsh or a notorious priest nga walay pakialam kung makasakit ba siya laing tawo nga naa siyang palibot through words as long as gikan siyang baba. And he always berates or criticizes other people around him. During sa iyang time nga nag-serve siya pagkapari sa San Diego, siya ang usa sa cruelty nga pari sa ilahang town. And Padre Salve. Padre Salve was the current town of San Diego and the successor of Padre Damaso, possessing a rivalry with the town's alferez. He later orchestrated the downfall of Crisostomo Ibarra, manipulating the townspeople in the process. Around the 1880s, Padre Salve was assigned town curate of San Diego, gaining great influence over the townspeople. So, si Padre Salve kay usa ka Spanish priest nga gipadala para ma-assign og mag-serve sa San Diego. Siya ang pari nga na-assign sa San Diego para mapuli ni Padre Damaso. Si Padre Damaso nag-serve for almost 20 years sa San Diego. And before siya gipulian ni Padre Salve sa San Diego, based sa story, si Padre Damaso ug si Padre Salve kay pareha sila nga naay mga bad sides. Si Padre Salve kay kusog mang lockdown sa uban ong tawo ug siya pud ang kaagaw ni Ibarra sa puso ni Maria Clara.
Sisa, Crispin, and Basilio are fictional characters in the novel in the novel Noli Me Tangere, or what we call Touch Me Not, written by Filipino national hero Dr. Jose Rizal. The novel was published in 1887 during the Spanish colonial period in the Philippines, and is considered one of the most important works of Philippine literature. Sisa is a poor woman and the mother of Crispin and Basilio. Sisa, I mean, she represent the suffering and oppressed masses under Spanish colonial rule. Sisa character is tragic and sympathetic because as she endures great hardships and emotional distress throughout the novel, she is depicted as a loving mother who cares deeply cares deeply for her children, and Crispin and Basilio are Sisa's two sons.
1.
Pilosopo Tasio, short for Anastasio, was an old scholar living in San Diego. Thought of as a lunatic due to his unorthodox ideas, he became an advisor for several individuals in town. On the one hand, he is referred to as a philosopher, sage and Pilosopo Tasio, because his ideas were accurate with the minds of uh, the townspeople. On the other hand, if his ideas were against the thinking of majority, Piloso Potasio is a quack doctor, or what we call albularyo.
1, 2,
So, Doña Consolacion, as incredibly crushed and very ugly, writing that her one sterling trait is that she seems to have never looked in the mirror. Much like Doña Victorina, with whom she eventually gets into an intense fight, and she believes herself to be much more worthy of respect. So Don Tiburcio de Espadaña was the henpecked husband of Doña Victorina, and Jose Rizal's Nole Metangere. He was under his wife's order of being a proud Spanish doctor in the Philippines. Why did Don Tiburcio became a quack doctor? So Don Tiburcio is a quack doctor or albularyo. So Don Tiburcio came to the Philippines as a pretty official in the customs.
1, 2, 3.
Colonialism. Colonialism is the policy or practice of acquiring full or partial political control over another country, occupying it with settlers and exploiting it economically. Jose Rizal's political novel Noli Me Tangere examined how Spain's colonialization of the Philippines allowed the Catholic Church to dominate and rule the region. I will give you some specific examples of colonialism in Noli Me Tangere. Number 1. The Spanish friars controlled the education systems and used it to indoctrinate Filipino students with Spanish culture and values. Number 2. The friars also controlled the religious lives of the Filipino people and used their power to silence, dissent, and punish those who challenged them. Number 3. The Spanish government is corrupt and inefficient, and it does little to protect the rights of the Filipino people. Number 4. The friars and colonial government used their power to exploit the Filipino people financially and socially. Rizal's depiction of colonialism in Noli Me Tangere was a powerful and influential factor in the Philippines Revolution. His novel helped to raise awareness of the injustice of colonialism and to inspire the Filipino people and to fight for their independence.
So, corruption refers to the abuse of power or position for personal gain or the treatment or others of others. It involves dishonest and unethically behavior such as bribery, embezzlement, nepotism, and fraud. Corruption that undermines the principle of fairness, transparency, and accountability in both public and private sectors. It hampers economic growth, weakens institution, and erodes public trust. Corruption can have severe consequences, which is leading to the social inequality and poverty, and also the misallocation of resources. Efforts to combat corruption include promoting good governance, strengthening anti-corruption laws and institution, fostering transparency, and encouraging citizen participating and accountability. Social justice. So, social justice refers to the fair and equitable distribution of resources, opportunities, and rights within a society, regardless of individual backgrounds or circumstances. That it aims to address systemic inequalities and create a society where all individuals have equal access to education, healthcare, employment, and social benefits. Social justice focuses on promoting fairness, so what we call inclusivity, and the protection of human rights. It recognizes and challenge discrimination based on what factors such as mga race, gender, socioeconomic status, and disability. Social justice advocates that for policies and practices that seek to eliminate these disparities and create a more just and equitable society for all its members. Abuse of power refers to the improper or unauthorized use of authority by individuals in positions of power. It occurs when those in authority exceed the limits of their power or act unethically, often for personal gain or to control and oppress other. Abuse of power. It can take various forms such as political corruptions, workplace harassment, economic and exploitation, or domestic violence, that it has a negative consequences for individuals, organizations, and society, eroding trust, violating rights, and undermining the proper functioning of institutions. That's all.
Hypocrisy is pretending to be religious when your heart is far from God. The Bible teaches you can change your life by changing your hearts. Hypocrisy and religious can sometimes be closely intertwined, although they are not in real link. Hypocrisy refers to the practice of claiming to have moral or religious belief or principles that one's actions do not align with. In the contents of religion, it is often refers to individuals who profess to follow the teaching of their path but engages in behavior contradictory to those teachings. Pero how it is ever nang sometimes kanang religions related to the communities and institutions are made of diverse individuals with varying levels of commitment and adherence of their faith principles. Consequence, some kanang mga members nga sometimes they exhibit or sometimes hypocritical behaviors. They can be due to a range of factors such as kanang personal filings, although kanang mahimog tag influence or a discrepancy between an individuals or profess belief their actions. Hypocrisy within religious contents can be particularly problematic because it is undermine the credibility and moral authority of religious community. It can lead to disillusionment among believers kanang gabilib ka sometimes nga kanang muhatag og skepticisms from outsiders kanang na sa gawas. However, it is important to recognize that hypocrisy is not limited to religious contents and can be found in various facets of life. It is crucial to distinguish between the principles and teachings of religions and the actions of adherents. Hypocritical behavior sometimes individuals does not necessarily invalidate the value of truth kanang kamatuoran. Naghatag og sa ato ang traditional belief. Each religion has its own core tenets, moral codes, and ethical teachings that should ideally be guide behavior of its followers. Kanang hatag og importansya sa aton mga tag-iya kanang kinaiya sa taho and for our believers. That's it. Thank you.
So, nationalism is a political ideology or sentiment characterized by loyalty and devotion to one nation. It emphasizes the interest, culture, and identity of a particular nation and often promotes the belief that the nation's interests should take precedence over those of other countries. Nationalism can foster a sense of unity, pride, and solidarity among citizens, but it can also lead to exclusionary or aggressive behavior, as well as conflicts with other nations. While nationalism can have positive aspects such as preserving cultural heritage and promoting national development, it can also be a source of division and conflict if taken to extreme or intolerant levels.